you have the layout set up?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Disconcur here, and welcome to Heroes Untapped, episode 17. And sorry, good sir, was it about the layouts?
Oh, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's alright, that's alright. It wouldn't surprise me if something was wrong. Anyway, guys, it is episode 17 of Heroes Untapped. It is the 18th of November 2015, and joining me on the show today is my co-host, Blue. Hey, Blue Aura, what's going on, good sir? How is everything?
Everything's pretty good. Been having a bit of fun with Cho'gall today. Haven't played too much, but yeah, he seems as fun as I thought he would be. So I think the Cho'gall hype's going to be going on for a while.
Yep. Oh, how good is Cho'gall? I mean, new hero to the Nexus. Excited about that. We're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show. Unfortunately, our other co-host, Finach, has unfortunately been delayed quite significantly, and he won't be on the show tonight. It's I'm sure you're all horrified. We're horrified, but don't worry, nothing has happened to him. He will be back on the show next week as normal. But also joining us on the show tonight is our two fantastic guest panelists. First off, we have Hwhisky from Ascended Gaming. What's going on, good sir?
Not a whole lot, Disco. It's good to be here.
It is definitely great to have you on the show. I mean, AG, Ascended Gaming are a great team coming up in the scene. You guys are promoting yourselves fantastically. Big name in the scene, big name in the community at the moment. So it's great to have one of you guys on the show. But also joining us is a new contender. It's coming to Heroes of the Storm in the team scene. And that is Delfeir. Delfeir, good sir. Tell us about your team.
Good to be here. Yeah, actually said it right for once. Still just, looking. We had a fifth player and then had to drop them and then had another fifth player and they haven't been online in 6 days and presume they are dead horribly. So hoping that's not the case. Please contact me, Obel. We miss you. But yeah, so other than that, still looking for a player and just trying to set up.
All right, too easy. Just getting there. But no, it's good to see just such new blood coming onto the scene. I mean, Ascended came onto the scene, say about 3 months ago? Would that be right, Hwhisky?
Oh, yeah, about 3 months ago. We've had a few rough patches here and there, but it's probably been about that long, yeah. Yeah,
no, it's good to see a new team, like a team like yourself. You've stuck around. 3 months is that magical mark, I find. 3 months is when teams really start to fall apart and disband. And Delfeir, it's good, a new team coming onto the scene. I'm sure you'll find that fifth, but stick at it. I'm excited for Team Deathmatch. I mean, what a frightening name. I'm excited for Team Deathmatch and any future events that will come. So anyway, guys, we will be there. I hope so, and we will be unbiasedly cheering you on. But anyway, so it's the show tonight, guys. It's a show, shortest show. We're just going to bring you some of the big events happening in the ANZ region over the next month or so. Just guys, get you excited and ready for those. Plus, we're all going to go over the patch, the content drop from last night or early this morning, and I mean it's. Heroes of the Storm is on its head at the moment. I mean, so many changes. It's, the patch note's pretty small, but everything has changed. And of course, Cho'gall.
By that you mean there's Cho'gall everywhere.
Well, Cho'gall's in the scene. I mean, he just breaks all the rules, right? So we'll get into the show. We'll get straight into it. We won't hold back. So first up, Morton D. Short, one of the biggest event organisers in the ANZ scene at the moment for Heroes, has announced his ANZ Royal Rumble 3. All right, I'm excited for this, guys. Are you guys prepped for a blue, the ANZ Royal Rumble? Are you?
Currently not on a team at the moment, but definitely keen to find a team and play with. So, and if not, I'm sure it'll be wicked fun to watch. Well, hopefully it'll drag some teams back together and we'll get some awesome games.
Well, but I mean, how good is ANZ Royal Rumble? Like we talked about teams, and you can, that's the great thing behind the ANZ Royal Rumble. These are the solo sign-up tournaments.
Oh, was this the?
Yeah, this is the ANZ.
The option of the solo?
No, this is
no,
solo.
sorry, no.
Yeah, this is randomly assigned.
I'm following now. Yeah, no, I missed the last two. The first one, I missed the date. The second one was out because my arm was a bit tender. So keen to play in this one.
Well, I mean, they're heaps of fun. I mean, so for those of you that haven't experienced these ANZ Royal Rumbles before, they're a tournament. It's general, your best of one games with the grand final of best of three. But instead of signing up as a team, you sign up individually. It's solo queue. You sign up solo, you get put in a team. They got a system in place now where they can calculate roughly where, to make balanced teams. So, you don't have members of Team Immunity and X-Team Immunity, I should say, Apex, XL5, and Silicon Sports or something, all on one team, same team. They spread it out. So it's a really good event for our newcomers to the scene. They get a bit of experience, get to be put on a team with with a bunch of strong players, and, mixed players, I should say. And you get to learn a lot, play with some really good members of the community. It's a really great event. It's happening the 5th of December, obviously next month. And slightly different, there is no pre-sign-ups to the event. You actually sign up for it on the day, just to help with no-shows and things like that. Sign up on the day, and at 12 p.m. ADT is when it starts, 12 p.m., 5th of December. But sign-ups are between 8 and 11 a.m. ADT in the morning. More details, Morton's going to post more details. And, of course, we'll keep you updated on the show. And we'll, obviously, anzheroes.com will have updates about the event as well. But, obviously, Blue, we heard yours. Yours excited. You're actually going to be a part of it this time.
Yeah. Were the last tournaments started at this same time, or were they started earlier?
I believe they started a bit earlier. Well,
yeah, I think so. So, yeah, even more keen now that I'd get a little bit more of a sleep in.
Well, I think
it started at 10 last time.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there's definitely what I believe was happening was that people weren't showing up, so it was extending out the time when they started. So Morton, in his wisdom, has obviously gone, well, if I'm having people sign up on the day, I'll push it back so it starts later. I'll get more time to organise the teams properly. So I think it's a good step. Delfeir, will we see you stepping into the Rumble arena?
Hopefully. I mean, I signed up for the last one, but then forgot what day it was on and showed up an hour late. So, this is basically perfect for me. I was the target audience with this change, so yeah. Or I'm just blacklisted and you won't see me at all. But
like the legal penalty from ranked, you are flagged. No, I'm sure that you're not. Or actually, maybe you are. I don't know. We'll see. Good to hear that you're getting into it. And Hwhisky, are the AG boys also going to get involved in the Royal Rumble?
I haven't spoke directly to the boys, but I have to admit I'm really excited for this one. Yep. I also wasn't able to participate in the first two, but I did watch quite a lot of the second one, and I thought this looks like a lot of fun. I have to get involved in the next one. I noticed you're not casting Disco. Would that be because you're competing?
Well, I was about to say, that's a big, a different thing this time. So the community is actually going to be really treated this ANZ Royal Rumble. There's been a lot of talks about these two guys shoutcasting for a while now, and it's going to happen. This ANZ Royal Rumble, not only will you have the fantastic Starving as your caster, but you're also going to have Skimmy from XL5 casting as well. I mean, how awesome is that? Like, Skimmy came onto the first show for Heroes Untapped, and I'll tell you what, that man, that boy, has a voice of gold.
He does a bit, doesn't he? There's some YouTube videos on Happy Rage where he's casted a couple of games before, and he just, I don't know, he's a natural. So they Skimmy and Starving already get along really well, and it's going to just be absolutely awesome to hear them go.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a great casting duo. I think it's going to be really fun, and I think there's going to be a lot of it's going to be a very engaging stream as well. I'm really looking forward to it. And in that, I am looking to actually compete in the Royal Rumble as well, because obviously I won't be streaming it myself, won't be casting.
Oh, you are competing.
I will be playing, so I'm pretty excited for it. As long as I wake up, that's the magical one. As long as I wake up in time. But yeah, you will see Disco in there raging at his team. No, I won't be raging, but I'm definitely excited for it. That's it, guys. Check it out. It's 5th of December, 12 p.m. ADT. And sign-ups from 8 to 11 that morning. The event will be streamed via Skimmy's channel, so that's twitch.tv skimmynz. Obviously, check out the show notes if you want that link again. I'll head over to disconcur.com where you can look at the post for the show, or I always put all the important links from the show tonight that were in tonight's show. All right, so that's the ANZ Royal Rumble. Moving on. So not only do we have this, so this is Morton, right? Morton is such a hard worker. He's been quiet for a while, but he's back on the saddle. He's writing down the events calendar pretty hard because we actually have another event coming up from Morton as well. only announced today, and it is the best Cho'gall ANZ 2v2 fun event. So this Friday, 20th of November, 6 p.m. Gee, I hope I got my Fridays right. We're going to 6 p.m. ADT start. We're going to have the best of Cho'gall event. From what I can tell, it's going to be I want to call it one-on-one, but it's a 2v2 obviously. 2v2 solo lane event where two Cho'galls will go at each other for the throats to see who's the best in the region. The rules are first duo to complete either of the following wins their games. Get 2 enemy kills on a Cho'gall, on an enemy Cho'gall obviously, or be the first to kill 2 turrets.
So and the wall, more or less.
That's it.
Oh, nice.
So that is pretty interesting. I love the idea. There's a link to sign up for it, which again will be in the show notes, disconcur.com, or also check the stream as well, because there are things in there. Check the stream. Check the Twitch chat for the information. Check that out. There are only 32 spots available, so you gotta get in fast, guys, because I bet they'll be snapped up pretty fast. And it's their best of 1 round, so it's like similar to a normal tournament, best of 1s until the grand final, which I believe is actually going to be a best of 3. So that's really cool, and that will be streamed to twitch.tv/MortonDShort, and that will be on Friday. I don't know if they're all the games, but some of the games. And that's it. What do you guys think of that? Hwhisky, I'll get your take on that. What do you think of a Cho'gall tournament?
I think it sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, it's the end of year. We need these fun events just to keep the players enthusiastic and playing. It's perfect with Cho'gall being released.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. I know I'm certainly getting on board. There's only 32 spots. I got to get 2 of those.
Well, I'll link you the thing in the Skype chat. And while we're talking, you just quickly fly to it.
Have to snag up a partner too.
Well, that's is your who do you prefer? Are you a Chol or are you a Gull? That's the question.
Oh, I think I'm more of a Gull player. I play Cho and a bit of feed mayhem going on.
So what you like to say is you like to be carried.
I just like throwing. I like throwing balls around the place.
He's Gull, not the horse.
That's beautiful.
No, I like Gull. I've played a lot of Abatha, so it sort of suited me. Picked it up very quickly.
It's a familiar role. All right, what about that? What about Delfeir? What about you? Are we going to see a Del? Well, what will you be? You'll be Del something. Well, there you go. Hwhisky, Del. You could be Delisky. There you go. There's the 2 of you.
That is delicious.
Hwhisky.
No, but will we be seeing a Del something, or will we see an Elfer? Is that what you say it is?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm hoping I find somebody who can play, Gull or Cho or whichever.
Yeah.
So far I've played a lot of Cho, less so Gull.
Yeah.
And I can't get over the need to right-click everything and get frustrated when it doesn't happen on Gull, so probably better if I'm Cho. But at the same time, I feed horribly, so we'll see.
As I say, I've got a few stories like that with playing Cho'gall as well. Just being able to tell you Gull, I should say. It's like, why won't I move? All right, and Blue, we obviously Blue, we know that you're keen for the Cho'gall event. And you're obviously also looking for your special someone to be Cho?
That's it. Looking for that special someone. Yeah, no, I'm super keen. The only thing I'm kind of curious, and I think that'll be resolved over the next couple of weeks, is whether the two towers will be adequate. For example, you might be able to kill them too quick. I know there's going to be a ton of games and it's going to be a pain to organize and stuff, but considering the range on Gull, they might drop too quick, or it might
but everything he can do,
I have to agree,
the enemy can do as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you about playing devil's advocate here.
This is true.
Everything it can do, you can do, and you still got to get through the minion wave. And if you go and poke that, you're not hitting the minion wave as much. Considerations. I guess we'll see.
First thing that comes to mind is that if you use your bounce thing in the center of Dragonshire and your first bounce hits the creep wave, does the last bounce then hit the tower? Because if it does, it'll be down. But yeah, if it does, it'll be down before level 7.
Maybe that's
I think that's a really good point.
That might be the point of it. And like I said, don't forget that both heroes are doing this So while you're trying to use your orb to kill the lanes, I reckon the enemy Cho'gall is probably using his orb to destroy your face. I think it will banter out. Not banter out. We'll figure it out. I mean, we're talking about it's in 2 days, right? It's this Friday, so there's not going to be that many people who've really mastered Cho'gall. And this sort of format's also pretty new as well, so I don't think you're going to have too many people overthinking or overextending. And plus, you're going to have the enemy Cho'gall doing that to you, hitting you. By the time you've retreated and come back, he's going to be pumping in more shots into your touch. So I think it will pan out. I don't think there's too much rule harassment. But if there is, they've got 32 sign-ups, so they've got 16 games to figure it out.
Somebody will figure out the strategy beforehand or during it.
That's it. But you'll have to save it in case your game's casted or anything like that. You'll have to save it till you get further along and then
on your secret strats.
Decide whether or not you're going to risk it yet or not.
Yeah. Nah, it's pretty cool. And like so that is the Cho'gall, the best Cho'gall, I should say. 2v2 fun event. I don't think there's no prizes or anything like that at the moment. I'm sure community will possibly donate because the ANZ community is great, by the way, for community contributions and things like that. But that's the gist. That's it. So moving on. So that's 2 cool events coming up in the next literally the next couple of days, flowing into the next couple of weeks. But the biggest thing to hit the Heroes of the Storm recently, I'm just dragging it a bit too high, is the new content drop, the new patch.
And it's a doozy.
It's amazing. Let's look at this. So the first thing, obviously, we just talked about Cho'gall, but let's look at Cho'gall. Here he is, the new hero to the Heroes of the Storm. For those of you that haven't quite been following up with Cho'gall, he's a 2-headed ogre character, but he's one hero selection that takes up 2 player slots. 2 players have to play Cho'gall. And obviously, Cho controls the movement and is a bruiser warrior, while Gull is stuck to his body, has no control of movement, but is a cool ranged assassin, magey type. You say he falls into the mage art type, definitely. And he is just incredible. And the way they've distributed him, you don't pay for him. He's not a gold sink. He can be. I think eventually he will be a brought character, but he's spread to people like a disease. Play with someone that doesn't own Cho'gall. If you win 2 games with them, they get Cho'gall. I mean, how much of a cool thing is that? I think we've talked about it before, but what a cool Heroes of the Storm event themed. Not a Hallow's End, which is kind of stolen from World of Warcraft, obviously stolen from Halloween itself. This is like Heroes of the Storm. This is how events should be run. Cool, quirky things like this.
Completely agree. This is exactly what the kind of thing they should have taken advantage of with Hallow's End. Is that what it's called? Yeah. This is really cool. It brings the community together. I can already see it's dragging both old players and new players into the game. Yeah, absolutely awesome.
No, it's just an amazing event they've come up with. I mean, just talk more about Cho'gall himself. Have you guys experienced Cho'gall today?
Yeah. Every quick match is Cho'gall v Cho'gall. You're along for the ride, whether you like it or not.
If you haven't been Cho'gall, you've definitely come up against Cho'gall, played with Cho'gall. So tell me, I'll go with you first, Delfeir. You jumped out. You were excited when I said, have you played against him? Tell me, what are your experiences of Cho'gall? Obviously, you played with him. You played as Cho'gall?
Yeah, I got lucky enough to have won the lottery and got him straight off the bat. So I was going to get him from a BlizzCon friend attendee person. But anyway, so straight off the bat, I just grabbed my friends and went at it. And basically, we've just been playing, trading off Cho and Gall all day. And he's so much fun. Like, it's hard to say if that's just because he's really strong and if that's because he's actually really strong or because he's, a raid boss who is supposed to feel like 2 heroes. But he is a lot of fun to play. Like, probably Cho more so than Gall personally, because again, I'm just right-clicking everything. But yeah, a lot of fun. Really love him.
So a lot of people were talking with Cho'gall, and I think there's a bit of concern that he might have been a bit too powerful, and because he's 2 players, but it's that 2-player presence in one body. Do you feel that he's in a good spot? He is 2 heroes, or does he feel like 5 heroes? I mean, is he unbalanced? What are your thoughts in that regards?
I would say he's closer to 2 than anything. Maybe a little stronger. Like I really doubt you're going to go into a situation where you can 5v1. Yeah. Like unless they play it really poorly, but
unlike the video they show you on the spotlight, by the way.
Yeah, there's that. But from my experience, if you send just a regular non-Cho'gall against him on their own, they will get destroyed or poked out. Yep. And if nothing else, he can just wave clear like 2 characters could. So yeah, he's pressure no matter where you go.
Yep. So you're saying he feels pretty good?
He feels really good. He does.
Yeah. Considering what could have happened, he feels pretty good at the moment. Do you think we're going to see? Do you think there's any heroes currently that do really well against Cho'gall? Like, is there a favored match? Like, if you know all these Cho'galls are playing, and it is 2 heroes, and somehow you're the unlucky pleb in the solo lane with Cho'gall for whatever reason, do you feel there's any heroes that really take advantage of the fact he's 2 heroes, like that really punish the Cho'gall play?
Like I haven't really seen most of the people who take out Cho'gall is another Cho'gall. Yeah. So I haven't played Hero League with him at all, so I don't know if there's been a really good counter or anything. In theory, people with Giant Killer would work against him, and I'd probably actually say Artanis can kind of duel him reasonably well as long as the Cho doesn't just kite him. Yeah. But at this point, it's still early days. I haven't figured it out yet.
All right, so still learning. Actually, speaking of ranked, just go to Whisky for a second. Whisky, speaking of Cho'gall in ranked, or let's say more competitive play, maybe this is even looking at you guys over at Ascended Gaming. What do you feel like? Are you guys looking at Cho'gall and going, man, we can't wait to get in the next tournament with him? Have you got 2 boys marked to become the Cho'gall Masters?
Well, I know in particular Benji and Clapton are looking forward to Cho'gall quite a bit. I think he's a strong pick, but I think his strengths are really obvious, and so are his weaknesses. Like something with that much HP, anything that's going to do percentage HP damage, whether it's Leoric Drain, 7-sided Strike, something like that, is just going to shred that shred that Cho'gall apart. But I think he's definitely going to be a strong competitive pick, but I think he's going to be quite simple to counter, like a Nubarak with the Cocoon, Void Prison even, stuff like that. Like a Cocoon onto him is going to turn a 5v5 technically, since Cho'gall's 2, into a 3v5. Makes the web wrap much stronger than it usually is, turning it into a 4v5. Yeah. So I think he's going to be quite simple to play against, but I guess we'll have to wait and see until he actually is played competitively. I, for one, am excited to see how people play him and against him. Yeah. I'd obviously do a little bit of shoutcasting for the scene. I'm really excited for those 2 guys that play so much Cho'gall to be able to say phrases like, and here's such and such, the Cho'gall brothers are in the house, or something like that. Or just be able to scream things like that. I'm really looking forward to it. And Baloo, what are your thoughts on Cho'gall? I remember last week you were saying you're a bit concerned that his natural nature, and there's sort of Delfeir's question as well, you're concerned he was going to be just always that little bit stronger, just strong enough to be a bit too overpowered. What are your experiences with him so far? Are you still on that mindset, or do you feel Blizzard may have actually got this right?
To be honest, I needed to see the numbers before I could work out how strong he is, and I still haven't. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I kind of number crunch some heroes to work out their value behind the scenes. And his numbers, just from looking straight away, seem to be about right. Yeah. The thing I was worried about most was that ulti. I think that ulti is what's going to drag him into competitive play.
Yeah, upheaval. You're talking about upheaval, aren't you?
Yeah.
That is
it's crazy.
Yeah, see, so the
throws
more
him over
I
his
was
shoulders.
apparently it's a bit fiddly for some people. Sometimes it's in front, sometimes it's behind. Have you guys experienced that?
Yeah, it seems like it moves them a set distance behind you. So, like, I don't know if it's meant to drag you in or drag them in front of you. But, like, if somebody is halfway up the cone when it goes off, they'll end up slightly behind me. If they're right in front of me, they'll end up really behind me. So, either way, they're displaced. So, useful.
It's like it pulls based off how much distance they were from you at the time or something like that, or a set distance. So they're super close.
Reading what you've got up on the stream at the moment, it says pulls towards you. Technically, if they're going behind you, that's away from you, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, are Blizzard going to fix the pull towards you, or are they going to fix the text box?
Honestly, with that, I'm not too fussed. That skill is just really, really powerful as is. The thing that worries me most about Cho is the damage he's going to do to quick match. So, yes, quick match is meant to be all fun and games. That's good, and I think everyone should treat it that way. But if you queue in as Cho'gall in quick match and you get into a team, even if you're versing another Cho'gall and your team doesn't have Giant Killer or doesn't have heavy DPS, you've just flat out lost. I've only on the rarest occasion experienced that a couple of times in quick match where you just simply lose purely based on team comp. And
I could offer an anecdote to the opposite when you're done. Sorry.
Yeah, but we're going to see that with Cho'gall. So yeah, they may fix that with more heroes in the pool or better matchmaking queues. But if you, for example, get, we'll say, Malfurion, you have your just anything kind of without Giant Killer. You don't get your Monk as a healer. You don't get a heavy kind of. If you got Jaina, for example, Jaina's not going to do much damage to the Cho'gall as opposed to a Reyna or maybe a Vela or... we'll see if he does, but I'm predicting a bit of damage there. For competitive, I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to completely change everything about the way drafting works because I'm fairly sure... I know he might be stronger than I'm giving him credit for, but... he's going to be a potential last double pick in pretty much every team comp because you're going to want to draft your kind of one of your three roles, your tank, your damage, your healer, and then there's always that threat of Cho'gall there. And if they don't have anything to deal with it, then you pick it and suddenly you just gain so much power and they can only pick one hero to kind of defend against that. Alternatively, if you pick it early, they can just completely counter him off the board and he's useless. So yeah, he's going to be really cool to see how he's worked into competitive play, but I definitely think we'll see him there.
Yeah, see him in lights. It's like I said, I'm really keen. Like the WCS next year, how it rolls out, Cho'gall getting picked. I can't wait to let's say Ascended Gaming next year at BlizzCon when they're winning the title. They're playing Cho'gall.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. But just at that level of play, right? I can't wait to see what those guys really do. I can't wait to see what Alcine does. Can't wait to see what the Koreans, what the Chinese, what the Americans, just like Europeans. I can't wait to see what happens with Cho'gall.
Can't to see what Navi do.
Yeah, anyone.
Or Cloud9. They ran murky.
Yep.
Yeah, true.
I think
Cloud9 will run a lot of Cho'gall, I think.
He's going to be a really cool hero. But anyway, that is Cho'gall is in the Nexus right now, guys. If you don't have him, find a friend that does. If your friend doesn't have him, I'm sure there's plenty of people that accommodate. The ANZ chat's been lovely today. People talking about getting Cho'gall. More conversation about finding someone to be Cho'gall with, as opposed to talking about all sorts of the nasty things it does. So there's a time to join the ANZ channels. Now's the time to do it. All right, so moving on. So that was one of the big things that came from the content drop today. Obviously, was Cho'gall, new hero. Obviously, we've got the user interface, the kills, deaths, assists. We talked about that last week. Not going to do it details again, but takedowns has been split into kills and deaths. Kills and deaths? No, kills and assists, and we have the death column as normal. Not going to go into that. We've already talked about that. We'll see how that unfolds.
Before we jump a little bit more deeper, Hwhisky was saying something about opposite to what I was saying before. I'm just kind of curious.
Oh, that was Delfeir, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, yeah, antidote for Cho'gall.
Yeah, it was just an anecdote about how, if you don't have a means of dealing with Cho'gall, that's bad. But at the same time, a quick match draft can end very badly because you're two heroes in one, and if you don't have, if you have a very bad laning team or whatever, for example, you have, say, an Abathur and a Nova with the Cho'gall, then on a 3-lane map, you're basically leaving a lane open, and you fall behind pretty quickly.
Yeah,
so that happened to me today. That happened to me today, and it's worth noting. But yeah.
Sounds painful.
It was pretty painful.
But that's the nature of quick matches anyway. Like any quick match game, any hero composition can possibly have that outcome for you. That if you don't have a good assortment of heroes with the wrong types or the wrong combinations, you just have a very weak composition. So I don't think that's too much of a... I think that's just quick match in general.
Pretty much.
Actually, one thing I'll say, the notes say they fixed the problem with quick match where you'll never be queued into a match where if they have a support and you don't have a support. Apparently that's in the patch notes. I'll see if I can bring it up.
It's good they fixed that.
They said they fixed it. Now, maybe they've just made it so it happens less often.
Well, they said that they brought that feature in, 5-6 months ago, where you wouldn't get matched against a team with a support if you didn't have one yourself, and it still continued to happen. So maybe they just fine-tuned it.
Fixed an issue which could cause... Here it is, I got the bug fixes up on the screen. Fixed an issue which could cause a team with no support heroes to be matched against a team with support heroes in quick match queue. Alright, so I started a game of Cho'gall this morning. Not only did my team not have a support, the enemy team had friggin' 2 supports.
Well, right.
Like that. Now, granted, it was quite early in the morning, right? And we probably hit the magical 10-minute mark. And it was like, no, I'm just going to give you a game. It's the best we can do. We apologise.
Too many Cho'galls.
But I read that part of the patch notes, and my first game, the enemies had 2 supports. I was like, oh, come on, Blizzard. Seriously. You've gone the other direction.
That was kind of something I was going to mention with the queue times and the not being matched. Personally, I'd prefer to be more than happy for them to have a support if it meant instant queues and you weren't waiting. But yeah, if that drastically increases queue times because you're purely waiting on a healer, they then have to just give us a little icon saying healers queue. You're going to get your shorter times.
Yeah.
And yeah, otherwise, I don't know. We're obviously going to get hit harder than everyone else, but it could just force some really long waits.
What do you think? Actually, it's going off topic just a little bit, but it's an interesting thing. What do you think of them introducing something similar to, say, World of Warcraft, where when you're looking for a group, it says we're short on tanks. If you play a tank-like character, a warrior, you get a little bonus. You get something, maybe an extra 5 gold or something. Something just to encourage people to do that. Do you think there's any merit in a similar system for Heroes of the Storm?
As a support main, I'm all for it.
Throw me that extra reward, Blizzard.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea, to be honest.
I mean, they do it in WoW. It works. I mean, assassins DPS never get looked for. But I mean, that's just the nature of what do you want? Do you want fast games or do you want to wait 10 minutes? Yeah. I think there's a bit of merit to that. But anyway, it's just an idea. It's anyone else got any just a quick thought, just a quick throw out to the wind?
Well, I think, I guess it really depends on how actually successful that is in WoW, because I know the queue times, from previous experience playing WoW, no matter how long or how much they fine-tuned that, DPS queues always were way, way longer, and tanks and healers were pretty much instant. So it really depends how many people would actually use that, because if you're incentivizing people who do, that's great, but would it actually shift a lot of people away who are just, I'm going to pick Illidan no matter what into that? So I guess that's on Blizzard.
Yeah. I think it's kind of, you got to think of it percentage based. So at the moment, people don't go, you're going to have the people that either just want to jump into a game and play a quick game and don't care too much about the heroes. And you're going to have the other people that walk into the game and go, I want to play this hero. So if you're looking at the first group of people and they go, oh, sweet, I can have a quick queue time and I'm not fussed about playing Muradin. And, maybe even I get a bonus 5 gold. Yeah, sure, I'll play Muradin. And yeah, that alone, let's say that was 5-10% of the players. That's already quite a big chunk into cutting down queue times.
And then actually something else to sort of bring up, that this is the old matchmaking system as well. Blizzard haven't implemented their new matchmaking system yet. So we keep talking about something that's potentially getting fixed later this year as well.
We can hope.
Yeah, the new system sounds really promising. They're like, not like pen and like, you know, it looks good on paper, but even the way it's going to work from what they're on testing, it sounds really good. So it's so that's just a cool thing I sort of throw out just while we just wandered off the beaten track a little bit. All right, that's it. We're going back to where we were. UI, we're not going to talk about. We talked about it last week, but just note, guys, kills, deaths, and assists are now in the game, and yeah, hopefully no one gets angry at you for it, which is the biggest concern right now.
Yes.
But this is what I really want to talk about, because this is big. Scaling and death timers. Now, may not have played enough games because it just came out last night, and I think we've all had theories before, but what do you guys feel so far of the stat scaling changes and the death timers, the increased death times at lower levels? Actually, Hwhisky, I'll give you your opinion first. Tell me, these scaling changes, have you noticed them?
To be completely honest with you, I haven't noticed them having that huge of an impact. Well, certainly not in just my quick matches I've played. Like, I may notice a bit more when it comes to my scrims and stuff like that. But I'll be honest, I haven't noticed any major changes. Like, it feels pretty comfortable to me.
I think we were actually talking about that a bit before the show. We were talking about the death timers, and I believe it was with you as well. You were saying that you asked death timers were in, and I said, "Oh yeah, they've been introduced."
I hardly noticed.
And you hardly noticed. And is this both a good thing or a bad thing? Like, because you didn't notice that they'd increased, but obviously you're dead for longer, but it doesn't feel like you're dead for longer. Is that a really good change? Because it feels natural. It feels right.
Well, I think it's pretty good. Like, you don't see it a whole lot these days, but there was a phase throughout Alpha where dying was actually a quicker way in the early game to return to your base and back to lane than it was to actually cast your Hearthstone and then return back. So people would kill themselves, respawn 2 seconds later, run straight back to lane, and all they'd be giving up was like the tiny amount of experience that an early game kill gives. So, I don't know. I think in general it will improve the game, but I haven't noticed a huge difference as of today.
Yeah, that's from what you played. Delfeir, what about yourself? Is it have these changes? Have they made the game better? I mean, does it play better now?
Well, the theory of it is really sound. What I've actually observed, I haven't really observed much of it. Like, again, barely even realized that the death timers had changed.
Yeah.
But if it's giving you more time to work on, like, early tributes and Cursed Hollow, in theory, that's a sound change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really need to play around with most of the other heroes that aren't just Cho'gall. That's the problem. I'm playing Cho'gall. But, playing with heroes I know and judging where they are. Like, there'll probably be a few outliers. Like, I'm hearing that Thrall is stronger, Leoric is weaker, whether or not that's part of his changes or not. And again, I need to test more. But the theory of it is sound, and I'm hoping Blizzard will tune any outliers if there needs to be. Yeah. But I think overall the changes are better in the long run. It's just a matter of getting the tuning right now.
Yeah. Not too easy. And Blue, just about these scaling changes and the death timers. This seems to be a common theme for us so far. Two people have said they didn't really feel it. Do you think that's really clever design there? That Blizz have gone and, in their own words, have changed all the numbers, and people are just going, it just feels all right. It feels good. Is there something gone wrong there, or is that how a change should feel?
Personally, yeah. I knew what was coming and kind of looked for it. Otherwise, if I didn't, I don't think I would have felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly where my point is. I think that was a change that needed to be felt. Yes, I agree that when they're a talent level up, you need to avoid the fights. Yeah, definitely agree, because it just shapes the way HOTS is, and it changes the way you play, and changes the calls that you make on the fly. But if you're on the same talent tier, it shouldn't be, oh, they're 2 levels up, we're not even going to go near that objective, let's just try and soak and catch back up. I think that should still be, right, we got to play this perfectly and we can come out on top. So to me, it doesn't feel like it's changed enough, and I can't see really that it's shaped characters a lot, like made them a lot stronger early game, which was kind of what they were hinting at. I haven't played many heroes yet, but doesn't quite seem that way. The more we play, because it's obviously just fresh, the more we'll find out. But yeah, I think perhaps that should have been a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, I remember reading and watching the panel, and one of the big things that, because they said it was a surprising change, right? They never set out to do this role-defining change, which was, they said that assassins felt more like assassins, tanks felt more like tanks, purely because not only are the stats scaling differently now, it's not just a flat gain, it's like a 4% stat increase for your character every time they level up, but your character gets more of their basic stats from the word go. So if you're a tank, you get more health. If you're an assassin, you do more damage. If you're a specialist, you do more, whatever it is you do. Your stat that reflects that, you do more of it, you get more of it from the word go. I think that's the direction they're trying to go. That it just, you're assassin, you're doing a bit more damage than you would normally, as opposed to the warrior or the tank. And I think that's what they were trying to hint at as that. Like I said, I sort of agree with you that I'm not 100% sure if they quite really hit that mark, but it was, they said it was a secondary thing, so they weren't looking for that. It just seemed to come out of it.
Yeah, I wasn't specifically kind of trying to head for role defining. I think the roles kind of, they only in the warriors and the melee assassins do they start to kind of blur a little bit, but the more you play them, the more you kind of understand, and it separates itself. But yeah, I just want it like to be a lot closer. If you're 7 and 9 and fighting over Sky Temple down bottom, that you should still be perfectly okay to go down and engage the fight. In fact, the reason, like, they're standing on the temple, they're fighting that little boss thing, you should basically be on the same level as them when you engage that fight, rather than that boss thing just does absolutely nothing, and either way you still can't do that fight. So
interesting.
That's what I was hoping for.
It's all interesting times. It's still a little bit early to figure out exactly what cause or what effect it had on the Nexus, is a fancy way of saying it. But I mean, for most part, I'm sort of in agreement is that I haven't really noticed it, but I mean, they're definitely in effect. So I mean, there will be those people that play those heroes or play that particular style that I think that really does come through for them. They go, wow, I do feel better. But I mean, we'll see. Next week we might be talking about how bad this change was and how terrible it is for the system, and there's anarchy and rioting through the streets. Who knows? All right, so that is another big thing. So like I said, guys, we're not going to go through all the patch notes. Don't fear. We're just going to go through what I like to call the big highlights. And the next highlight I want to look at, I wrote down anyway, is we'll talk about the maps. Where's my new map, guys? Where's my new battleground?
We've been robbed.
It's not here. It's in the patch notes, but it's not it's in the patch notes, but it's not in the game. Now, granted,
TM.
Well, granted, they did say. Now you have to kind of look for this one. It's when you click on where the tower do. Yeah, it's a little bit. A little bit misleading. So you got the new battleground, Towers of Doom. Oh, that's really cool. And then it goes, please note, Towers of Doom is currently not available in the live version of Heroes of the Storm. And they say it's because it's still being tested on the PTR and it hasn't finished. So they're looking at releasing it probably after the 24th. So we're looking at next Tuesday. We're looking at next patch night. But so it's coming. It's not quite finished testing yet. I hope that means it's good. You know, I hope that means that. I hope it doesn't mean it's buggy or something, and that's why they're still
taking their time.
That's it. They're just taking their time to make it real good. But in the meantime, and this is going to be in effect, I guess, until they change their mind. They've removed Haunted Mines from the queues. You can no longer quick match or ranked or team league into Haunted Mines.
That alone makes me perfectly happy.
Yep, do you think they could?
I don't even need a new map as long as that's gone. I'm perfectly happy.
And like, okay, Blizzard, you haven't given us a new battleground, but you've removed Haunted Mines, so Blue's happy.
So job well done. High fives all around.
Nice. So obviously you're not a fan of Haunted Mines, I take it.
It's just that first mine. Oh, look, to be honest, my opinion might change on mines a little bit now that the death timers at the early level has changed. But just, I don't know, that first objective is just rubbish. Yeah. Generally, whoever wins that first objective wins the game. And if you go into that objective with the intent to kill their team, by the time you've gone around to collect enough skulls, they're all already back in and picking you off and killing you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with the death timers increase, it might be a little bit better, but I would just rather it be scrapped.
Scrapped all. Yeah, and I believe last time they removed some maps as well. Did they remove Haunted Mines? Was that in the list last time as well? Can anyone remember?
I think so. I think it was like some of the earliest ones that they made. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not the first time. Yeah, it's not the first time they've removed Haunted Mines. And in fact, we've seen competitive play where Haunted Mines hardly ever gets used. And I think it's actually some competitions, some tournaments overseas, just outright said it's not a map. You don't get to pick it. It's not even in the list to play. Is this... Yeah, like Blue said, so Delfeir, what do you think? Should Blizzard just come to the table and go, look, obviously guys aren't happy with it, let's scrap it, let's redesign it? Is what should they do with this map that apparently is it's disliked by so many members of the community?
Well, I mean, it's worth reminding people that they have actually redone the map multiple times before. So obviously they've capped how strong the first golem was, and then in Alpha it was the mine section was like twice the size, and it was all over the place. There was no boss one. I don't seem to, or was there? There might have been. It's been a while. Either way, they've constantly been trying to figure this one out, and I'm not sure they're getting to it. And as a result, it's rarely picked in competitive. Yeah. Like least of all maps, I think. It does tend to be a little bit one-sided. There is like Sylvanas is still pretty much 100% pick ban on it, because just that kind of design. Yeah. So I don't know. It'd be a shame for them to completely delete a map, I feel. But I guess if they were going to have to, if they were going to have to take, well, if they were going to take one away, that would be the one. Yeah. And another reason is, of course, as they introduce more and more maps, it becomes harder for new players to get in there, because you have to learn, you have to play X amount of games with this hero, X amount on each map before you're comfortable. It just, what's the term? Burden of knowledge or something that they friggin' adore. So, I guess that's why they're doing it. But,
and you haven't said right. They're reaching like was it Towers of Doom will be their 10th map. Now and it's taken them, they've done 9 maps, and it's only on this 10th one they've gone, gee, maybe we should slightly change the objective so it's not about something that collects something, destroy the core. They've gone, well, this is actually a control map. This is their first control map in 9 out of 9 maps. Just, I guess, for people listening, watching all that stuff, what's wrong with Haunted Mines? Because I bet there's diehards that say, "No, Haunted Mines is a great map. Don't take it away." What is it about Haunted Mines? I've got you, Hwhisky. I've got you. Maybe you love it. Maybe like there's nothing wrong with it. Disco. These guys are haters.
I'm a diehard. I love me some Haunted Mines.
Yeah. Is your favorite map? I was like, what's wrong with it? Why is it so reluctantly chosen?
Well, I think what the general public and the general player base think is wrong with it is exactly what Blue Aura said. It does snowball quite hard. But I don't know. I still think there's a lot of strategy to be brought to that map, like the specific timing on mercenaries, counter jungling, even just controlling vision. I think there's a lot of strategy on that map that gets overlooked a lot. And yeah, sure, it snowballs quite hard, but if you like compare it to Sky Temple, Blackheart's Bay, they snowball equally hard, in my opinion. And I don't know. I'm actually a really big fan of Haunted Mines. I just like it because it's so small. It's so small. Just constant scraps, 4v4, 5v5 from like level 1. It's just scrapping. And that's why I really like it.
Well, if you could change anything about Haunted Mines, what would it be? I really like this question. I just thought of it. I think it's great. We'll go around the table. But Hwhisky, what would you change about Haunted Mines if you could?
Perhaps just the amount of health granted to the Grave Golem. Like, I feel like I know that they have the benchmarks. Like, there's a level 50 Skull Golem and then a level 60 Skull Golem. So technically, like 52 and 58 is the same strength. But and all that sort of stuff. But I just feel like if they just lowered the HP, they don't necessarily have to lower the damage. It'd be much easier for teams to form and defend against those strong golems, and Mule would be able to take a larger effect on Haunted Mines, because that's one map particular where Mule does shine. Yeah,
it's a choice, it's an option.
But yeah, like I said, I personally like the map. If there was one thing I would change, probably just the strength of the Grave Golem.
All right, Blue, you looked very excited when I brought that question up. So if you could change one thing about Haunted Mines, what would it be?
The
entire map.
I'd have a few ideas, but the thing I wanted to mention about the whole strategy thing is that if with your golems you cap them and time them so you can kill the opponent's team golem. If you're playing in a pub, they never ever cap it at the right time, and if your opponent team cap it at the right time, suddenly that's just such a massive advantage, and you just get snowballed. You've got the things that can go wrong in the mines that you can't even control that make you get snowballed. You've got camp timings that you can't control because the derps are standing on it and won't move, even though you pinged it a billion times, which you can't control. If you get picked off, if you're talking in competitive, once before the first mines, generally you lose. And it just keeps going. But another thing that really kind of I hate about this map is the Knights camp in the center. Really, it's just a bait camp, a complete waste of time, and there's no point to it being there at all. So, there's just so many bits and pieces that I would change. Maybe even kind of rework the entry to the mines. So have an entry, maybe 2 entry points on either side, so you can and split it so that like wall it off in the center so you can't move between one mine to the other, kind of like Garden Terror kind of style. So if you decide to go in through the top half, you can get 50% of the skulls. If you decide to go in through the bottom half, you can get 50%. And that means teams can decide whether or not they're able to contest. It means teams can decide whether or not they're wanting to take camps or push, or it just gives you, like, it would give you so many more kind of options. Otherwise, you're just playing the exact same thing over and over and over, and it's a coin toss.
When you were saying that, I had this vision. You're talking about like a entrance in each, let's say near each player's base, right? And when you talked about it, I had this envision of one of the arena maps. And you know how it's like it's the underground one they talk about. I don't even remember if I saw it, but basically it's the underground arena. I mean, I should get a picture of this. I only just thought about it. Basically, both teams enter in, and it's a little bit of a corridor, like think of like a mine shaft, and in the middle is the Grave Golem. And you could have this option where both teams enter the mines, and they kill all the little mobs leading up to the Grave Golem. And it could be like a clash, like they go down the mines, they kill leading up to the Golem, and then they have to kill the Golem. Decide, well, gee, do we engage on the Golem, try and pick up skulls? Do we engage on the team? Do we leave it here? If we leave it here too long, it scales. Do we skip all our mobs and go straight for the big Golem? So it's got sort of the similar strategy to what's already happening in the map, but just change the map layout so it forces both teams to kind of have to clash against each other. as opposed to one team engulfing another team. I don't know, just as you were describing, that's sort of the imagery I had in my head. And then when you said cut it off into two, I thought, oh, yeah, it's actually pretty good design as well. I don't know, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
The only other thing, and because you were discussing kind of minor changes, and I think that would be minor, but if they didn't just hit delete on the map, the thing I'd love to see them do is and kind of I'm stealing a little bit from Team Ford here, but an actual gold mine cart that you push with your team. So if you had to push your gold mine cart up your lane, and the opponent's team had to as well, it'd be so cool to see how teams split to try and get their cart pushed in front, like further ahead, or you would have to time mercenaries differently. So maybe your mercenaries help push your cart or help block their cart, so you can cut one person if you manage to cap your mercenaries, and then use that person to push. Yeah.
So your suggestion really looking at change the entire flow, entire flavor of the map.
Yeah,
make its own thing.
I like the mine's concept. I just think it's it needs to be fixed.
Execution's bad, not too easy. And Delfeir, what's one thing you could change in Haunted Mines, I guess, to make it better? Unlike Blue, that his first option was almost they should put it in the recycle bin. They should change its deleted status to yes.
Like I'm definitely in the closer to the Blue camp here of it's bad. It's bad more than it's good. So
it's unsalvageable.
I don't know. I think you could. There are many answers I could have. You could just rework the entire map. You could do lots of things. Going on like just trying my own thing of what's been said, incentivizing the lane which the golem isn't pushing in, because that's the reason why the knight is a trap, because you get the knight's merc or the hard merc, and it pushes the lane which doesn't really matter and it doesn't really accomplish anything. Like, it's only really good if you have like a heavy pusher like Asmodan going up there while you're in the mines and getting you a level lead. So other than that, I don't know, maybe incentivize it somehow so it's not just about the one lane which you're pushing or have to defend against. Make it so both lanes matter. But I'm not sure how I would go about doing that just off the top of my head, but
too easy. Well, that's it. That is the Haunted Mine. It's been not removed from the game. It's still in custom, but it's gone for the moment, to make room for Towers of Doom, which is not out to probably next week. I mean, they didn't say it was going to be released on that day. They just said the testing is going to be done on the 24th or 23rd. So it's like, oh, gee, testing will be done. Does that mean it will be playable? Who knows? I'm looking forward to Towers of Doom, but more talk about that when it's actually released. And just just following up, so another thing that has changed this patch, it's I just want to look at a single talent change. This is a bit of an interesting one. It's we basically haven't seen it since their original change to it, and that's Gathering Power. Gathering Power used to be take it, and every time you killed a hero, gain 1% extra damage effectively. Maxes out at 15. And since that change occurred, we haven't seen Gathering Power on any hero, basically. It's been a bit of a flop. They've revamped it, trying to make it more appealing. It's now get it at 0%, and every time you kill an enemy, it increases your damage by 2%, up to a maximum of 30. It failed. Death. Yeah, and losing. Sorry, I should say. I forgot the main key. Loses it on death. Delfeir, we were just talking about Haunted Mines being removed. Maybe Gathering Power should be removed. Like, I don't know. Is this change? I mean, it still seems to me that while yes, it's more potential damage now, the thing that really deters from this is that if you're playing against a good team, they're not going to be in a position where you're going to get these initial kills. It's I don't know. What do you think about the Gathering Power change? Is it?
Does it just a question? Does it actually affect just kills or assists? Now that that's a thing.
No, assists and kills.
Kills.
Okay, kills and assists. All right. Well, I guess I understand what they're going for with the change. It's like make it potentially stronger, but give it counterplay, which is you don't just want it to be binary. You get a kill. Congratulations. Be stronger for the rest of the game and just snowball into infinity. So I guess, it makes sense. Like, wow, that Nova's killed 5 She's going to be really strong. We got to really focus her. So I get what they're trying to do. Again, though, I just wonder if it may be better to just straight out remove that talent and replace it with something, more flavorful for each individual character. That's, Like, I mean, it works for Living the Dream on Murky because it has his own personal spin on it. I don't know about this one.
Yeah. I mean, this is their generic one they give out to people. And it's going back to some of the mines, remove some of the mines. They've tried it, they've reiterated it. I don't know, maybe we'll see more of this one, but it seems like all they've done is gone on. Maybe the numbers aren't working, but I don't feel it's the numbers. I feel it's the entire talent itself. They call it the quest. The quest is to kill people without dying, but it doesn't give you the tools to do that. It's like saying you have a talent that does nothing for you until you actually prove you're good until you actually prove you're good, until you prove to us that you can kill someone without it.
I really like that you guys both mentioned Murky and Nova specifically, because I get the feeling Blizzard were thinking one or two, maybe both things when they decided to make this change. The first change was, what can we do to Nova to make her feel a little bit more effective without just completely changing her? And the second thing was, fairly sure the Murky win rate and the TLV win rate are really high on the on hot slogs. I think Lily's win rate is pretty high as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you kind of gives Nova a little bit more incentive, if she can get those kills to put a little bit more pressure on throughout the game, if she gets a gathering power. At the same time, I don't think it's enough to make Nova viable, but it's another thing that's going to make it more painful in quick match. So a lot of the players that play Nova, I'm fairly sure it's in the lower MMR brackets because they don't understand that she's really weak and why she's really weak. So those Novas generally run around raking up the kills, and with 30% extra damage to everything she's got, as opposed to, I think the cap was 15 before, she's just gonna absolutely demolish everyone. The healers are gonna die and not have a clue why they died. The assassins are gonna get extremely frustrated because every time they feel they're stepping out to contribute and deal a little bit of damage, they're dying, that kind of thing. So it's gonna be fun if you're feeling confident and you're stacked with a team to run around and farm people with Nova. Absolutely gonna be fun. But gathering power, I think we're not going to see picked on any of the competitive heroes in competitive matches, unless they were specifically predicting a Murky, TLV, other squishy heroes to step out into the meta now that everything has kind of been shaken up.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually affect Murky's one because his is unique.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Oh, I mean, like Nova shooting down a Murky, for example.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
I didn't even think of that, actually. Yeah, true.
So, Hwhisky, what about your take on this? Is gathering powers this changed the nice try come again?
I think, I'll be honest, I don't even think it's a nice try.
Yeah.
I kind of
agree.
I don't know. It was okay as it is, where you lost half stacks. Like, yeah, sure, it wasn't a popular pick in competitive play, but you can still pick it up in a game of QM if you want to play KT with Pyroblast and have a great time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I feel like now it's almost unviable. Like, it's so easy, especially in competitive level of play, for them to just shut down that target who's taking gathering power, essentially making that talent tier wasted.
Yeah.
And
that's it. I mean, that was my point when I said, you get rewarded for showing the game that you don't need the talent to kill someone.
One thing that was brought up to me by a teammate is, at the moment you see a little bit of Protect the Sergeant Hammer composition, and it's based around on protecting Sergeant Hammer in the late game, and she just wrecks away. So imagine if teams started running a Protect the Kael'thas composition with gathering power and I don't know. It's an interesting thought. It probably wouldn't work too well. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel, like Blue Aura said, it's only going to have an impact on Nova.
Yeah.
And it's going to make her slightly stronger, but only if you're great at her.
The Protect the Kael thing with the gathering power, I also thought about that as well. And at first I thought it was kind of interesting and worth trying, and then I thought about it a little deeper. And if you're going protect anything kind of comp. You want your support. Ideally, you'd probably want a Tassadar, maybe a second support. You'd want a strong tanky front line, something that can peel, maybe even a Joanna, and then maybe another damage dealer. I don't know. It depends on preference from there. So with just those 4 heroes in itself, you're going to really seriously struggle to get kills in the early game unless your opponents are making serious mistakes. So by the time that Kale gets to maybe 13, where he power spikes and gets his chain bomb, you should be getting very, very, very minimal stacks. 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky. So yeah, if you get to 13 and then you may manage a double kill, for example, and let's say you haven't died, you're at 8%, which is just absolutely nothing compared to the other talents you could have. So yeah, while in theory it sounds kind of fun, it just sounds a little bit more snowbally pub stompy style talent.
Yeah. It's definitely those for those quick matches. There's diamond platinum players in quick matches. Yeah. But I mean, it's still good, and I'm sure people will enjoy it. But I think, I'm on team. Maybe they should think about completely reworking it. They want that quest gathering thing change the way it fundamentally works, and make it a real quest or something. Gather something that you get to keep, but it doesn't quite disappear. Maybe every time you kill it, it's a 5-second cooldown. Like it's something that's on a 30-second cooldown, increases your damage by 10%. But you have to kill 5 heroes or something, or something
gains charges from heroes, or so something you can expire yourself rather than just get picked off in a situation you can't help, and then you lose everything.
Yeah,
I wanted to kind of compare it to Butcher's meat, kind of thing. I don't know about you guys. I think it's a great idea. I like it. If Butcher dies, loses a bunch of his meat. Is it meat? Fresh? I don't know.
Yeah.
Blood stats? Meat. Was it the blood? I don't know.
He needs to run back in, but it's called meat.
Okay. He needs to run back in and get his meat back up before he can get back at maximum power and get back in the fight.
Yeah.
So, with gathering power, if you pick that talent and you die, it's just completely gone and you're crippled. Whereas if Butcher dies, he can then still kind of regain that on his own merit if he gets a chance. I kind of like that whole concept a whole lot more. So now that you mentioned the killing heroes, you gain charges. If you could, use your charge and maybe get a 4-second buff and maybe it was 4 to 10% or something like that, and capped at 30%. That'd be so much cooler and way better direction.
Something else, different direction to go in. All right, so that's it for that talent challenge. I'll bring it up. Just as some interesting things, a lot of people are still running it in quick match. I guess we're talking about you don't see gathering power at all. Not true. You see a lot of times in quick match, but in a lot of the higher stage of games, it's not really coming out. On a lot of the higher end players, higher stage games, people aren't really taking it because it does share a tier. We are looking at a tier with for the different heroes, but Kelthus, for example, that's your Nether Wind. That's your increased range CC there. It's potentially your mana tap if you're having mana issues, if you're not taking Mana Addict at level 1. Possibility. But anyway, so that is gathering power. And back to my show notes. So just to finish up, there's a lot of stuff in the patch, guys. We're just going to very, very quickly just go over, not going to go over every single hero because that would take way too long. But there's 2 heroes I want to point out I think are very interesting, have some changes. First one being a Zeratul. He's actually lost the focused attacks talent. He no longer gets access to that. He now gets access to a replaced talent called Master Warpblade, where every 3rd basic attack against the same hero will deal 100% bonus damage. Can I get your thoughts on that? Zeratul, he received a little bit of a nerf last patch. Lost the range on his Void Prison. He's now lost focused attacks. He's no longer doing that he's not doing a lot of burst damage now. He's gone back down to sustained damage. Is that
Try though they might, they're never going to get us to pick Shadow Assault over Void Prison. I'm sorry, it's just too good.
It's the concept of being Zeratul and getting 3 hits on someone in a big team fight is, I feel is I don't know about you guys, but that's not how I survive as Cerebral. That's not how I live through my team fights.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm one of the few Zeratul players who actually has experimented with Shadow Assault quite a bit. And it's really obvious, like Delfeir just said, that this is just a direct buff to Shadow Assault. Yeah. They want to see Shadow Assault picked up. And sure, Void Prison's really strong. And probably we're not going to see Shadow Assault a whole lot. But I think sort of the whole idea Blizzard has behind this talent is they want to see Zeratul sneak into the back line, pop Shadow Assault onto that Valor, kill the Valor, and then possibly blink out of the engagement and like sort of get an individual pick, sort of like Nova gets her individual picks, but he's a bit safer. That's what they're aiming to do. Whether or not it works is another story. Like they might need to add some sort of percentage damage onto it.
Might have to give it something just a little bit more.
Just a bit more of a buff.
And that's it. Well, then, that's... Yeah, I agree. I actually didn't think about the Shadow Assault, you know? All I saw was 3 hits, and I was like... I forget Zeratul even has Shadow Assault.
Yeah, everybody does.
That's it, isn't it?
That's I
don't know what it is.
It's like, what's that for? I mean, what? You don't get your damage initially? Oh, gee, that's a bit weird. Duh. Yeah, that's for Shadow Assault. All right, cool. That makes sense, the design direction. But, okay. Yeah, no, get lost, Blizzard. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's what they want to happen.
Yeah.
And who knows? Like Zuna was quite nice in Zeratul. Maybe we'll see some Shadow Assault next year.
Yeah, for those who sort of mastered it. Well, that's a change happening to Zeratul. Has happened. We'll have to experiment with Shadow Assault now. I'm so glad I brought you on the show tonight, Hwhisky. That was amazing. This is why you guys come on the. This is why I get guests. This is why I have co-hosts. So I don't have to actually research the game. All right, and next change, Falstad has got a new talent, Gathering Storm. Permanently increases his Hammerang's damage by 1 every time it damages an enemy hero. So you have pretty similar to, say, Perfect Storm by Mirrodin. You use your ability to hit someone, you get an extra damage with it. Now, I had to look at this because I thought, gee, that sounds really cool. Oh, but what's else at level 1 for Falstad? Oh, Seasoned Marksman's at level 1 for Falstad. All right, what's happened here? Are they trying to give Falstad an alternative build? Something that people can spec into differently. So I thought that's kind of cool. Talent diversity, that's awesome. Checked hot logs today. Last week, everyone was playing auto attack Falstad with Seasoned Marksman. Over just today, everyone who's in that Masters tier has all changed to this Gathering Storm talent. And he's currently sitting at that level, about like 65% win rate. Not overall, not for everything in Heroes of the Storm, but just that one bit that I checked earlier today. Have they, Hwhisky, question to you, have they given Falstad talent diversity, or have they just changed how you play Falstad now? He's just got a different primary build.
Well, I personally think it's a really good talent. Like it's the same as Seasoned Marksman in the sense that you're forever gaining stacks. Like that's why Seasoned Marksman, Regen Master, all those talents are strong. You're gaining stacks even when it comes to like level 23 level 23 team fights. You're still gaining stacks.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think we will see a lot more of this hammer style long range assassin Falstad come into play. Like before the Seasoned Marksman, Falstad was the way to go. Like you would see the gathering power, the boom meringue, if you will, on his Q and stuff, and he was played quite often as a secondary burst assassin or even a main burst assassin. And I don't know, I think it's really cool to see that hammer style of play come back into it. I haven't actually tried it myself, but I'll definitely be hopping on later tonight to play a bit of Falstad. I love him.
Yeah, let's check it out. It's it's an interesting change. I like it. And I like that it's changed the way Falstad kind of was very locked into the way you played him, but now it's kind of opened up a little bit more. But it's changed. Everyone's changed it. They changed over to it. Considering they also, in addition to this, they also took the, what was it? The one at level 4. They took Power Throw, the one that increased the range and slow duration from it. They took that from level 1 and they actually put it at level 4. So you can take both Gathering Storm and Power Throw. So it's obviously their obvious intention was to get you to do this sort of build, this Hammerang build. But yeah, I think that they've I don't know, maybe they possibly lost the auto attack build. Unless this is just a huge influx of people trying it.
I don't think it will majorly outshine the auto attack build. I think we'll see a bit of both. Seeing this hammer build, I'm assuming we'll see a lot of Hinterland Blast played with it, whereas the auto attack build synergizes a lot better with Mighty Gust.
Yeah.
It'll just be whether Falstad is expected to deal a large amount of damage, a large amount of burst damage in these team fights, or whether you're running Legena or something else that's going to do that damage for you, and you just want that utility and constant harass that auto attack Falstad brings to the table.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a bit of both plays, but it's hard to call which will be stronger at this point. Like, auto attack Falstad hits like a truck.
It's still pretty good. It's Blue, do you think this is to help with sort of like the competitive environment as well? Because now they can tool up Falstad differently, right? This change gives Falstad kind of two directions he can go in, which means that when you get to competitive play and you're down to picking your final something, and the bans have just been bad, and the other enemy teams picked who you were going to take, it's going to give teams a little bit more to play with. You know, they can take the auto attack. And they were going to take Valor, but that's been removed, and they got a melee left or something like that, or they didn't want to take Jaina for a reason. Is this going to give them another option? Reyna's gone, Valor's gone, or Reyna's picked, Valor's banned. These weird, you get into situations where you're just out of options. Is this to make Falstad a more flexible character in that sort of situation?
The more versatile a hero is, the stronger it is just by default.
Yeah.
That being said, and I'm not a Falstad player, and I'm kind of surprised Hwhisky said it, but I completely think the auto attack Falstad will be phased out with this.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I've done a little bit of math. Let's say, and this could completely change either way, and it's hard to even average it out, I would think. But let's say you pick the level 1 talent where your Hammerang gets stronger per stack. Let's say you're getting 8 hits with it per minute. If you get to the 20-minute mark, you have 160 damage. Well, at 20 minutes, your Hammerang's already doing 428 damage. So that's about 30% extra damage on your Q, which is not too bad. But if you look to how Falstad was played this patch, Falstad was always played hybrid because you couldn't really comfortably move down either path. There was some just key talents in the spell kind of style build that were just too good to pass off, and same with the other one. You had the Seasoned Marksman was just so much stronger than a lot of the other talents that you kind of had to choose it. So I think Falstad's just been pushed purely to spell damage. The first talent, we'll see, it could be possibly hit and miss, and that could maybe be why auto attack Falstad stays around. But there's also a few other things that I would need to look into to see just how strong this talent is. For example, if you lane against Cho'gall and you hit Cho'gall with your Q, is that 1 stack or 2? And if he's going to be hard to miss with it, so that could be 4 stacks. The cooldown's 10 seconds. That could be 40 stacks a minute. It'd be absolutely incredible. Maybe you put a Malfurion with him so he can just keep spamming it. It'd be so strong.
Yeah. If Cho'gall rewards 2 hits.
Or even if maybe you put him in against a trial lane or something like that. And
put him in the lane against the Lost Vikings.
So exactly.
Or Rexar.
It can have some absolutely incredible potential, and then at the same time it can just be a flop. But and the other thing is, for example, Boomerang. If you activate Boomerang, do you then gain a stack from that, or does that not count as your hammer's damage, that kind of thing? So if you take into all these you include the math behind it, and then you include all these other little bonus points that you can get from different locations.
Yeah.
It could scale out of control, and we could see Falstad as the new mage.
So
yes,
we could see a month from now, we could be seeing a very different Falstad to what we're seeing now.
Absolutely. Kind of like that, the Asmodan, when you saw Asmodan, just that teams built around Asmodan so he could get incredible stacks and just blow their team apart.
Yeah.
You could be a thing with Falstad. You, rather than having Falstad in a lane by himself, instead you have him utilize his flight aggressively, rather than to soak, to match their tri lanes, so you can stack boomerang like mental.
Yeah.
Don't know. It's versatility, and it's a really good change. I like it.
Too easy. And Delfeir, just your final opinions on this slight adjustment to Falstad.
Well, again, not a Falstad player, so can't say for sure. But I think, like previously, the only reason that Mage Build dropped off in favor of that was because I believe it was Gathering Power was nerfed. And other than that, you would previously pick that at level 4 and go full Mage Build.
Yeah.
They've removed Gathering Power from him entirely, replaced it with this. But now he has, a completely viable and potentially really strong Mage Build. So I think he was going more to the sustained damage auto attack build simply because there wasn't that much better, and as Blue Aura said, there were talents that you still took that made him magey anyway. So I'd like to say that he obviously this is talent diversity, as Blizzard is so fond of saying. It does make him versatile, it does give you options, but by and large I think we'll see more mage.
Yeah. No, that's the direction they're going in. All right, and like I said, there's a ton of other changes, guys. Does anyone else want to comment on any of the other heroes before finishing up? Because there
was one thing I wanted to touch on. One moment, please.
Yeah, no worries. As you
was it Uther? I could speak of Uther.
Everyone knows about the Uther nerfs. They're not big enough, Blizzard. They're not big enough.
Well, that's the one thing they said about the Uther nerfs that we talked about last week as well, but they didn't want to remove Uther from his mantle. They didn't use those words, but they didn't want to remove him from his mantle. But they just wanted to fine-tune him a little bit and see where they finished up. But yeah, I don't think it's enough. It's not enough to remove him, and we're just going to see games are going to be a minute longer as they wait for Uther's cooldowns to reset.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it's going to be at this point. One less heal in your afterlife and slightly longer pauses between team fights, so that's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, that's exactly what me and Benjamin was saying last week.
It's good for the casters. We get time. We get a break in between fights now.
The one change that I did want to touch on is the Karazim buffs. He's got buffs to both Insight and Iron Fist at level 1, which is the mana regen and the damage bonus.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is going to be popular or anything, but I want to at least give it a try myself, because I'm sure other Karazim players can agree. There's a lot of the time when you're running Transcendence, you run out of mana. You're completely out of mana, but you've got a completely full health bar.
Yeah.
So with duo support comps coming into fashion, I'm interested to see whether we'll see some Insight Karazim, where he regenerates mana off of his auto attacks, and you could still run him more of the utility style, have the double heal on his W, the extra movement speed on his Q, the root removal on his W. He would still bring a lot of utility, not to mention Divine Palm itself. I'm interested to see if we'll see any Insight Karazim, because as a Karazim player myself, I'd say my biggest issue is mana. Like, you feel like just dashing around everywhere, so it can be easy to be a bit careless with that mana pool. I'd like to try some Insight myself anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Sorry, I've done so much thinking about this patch. That's another thing that I thought about with the Monk, but yeah, I think I still completely rule out those other two talents. When Monk first came out, I jumped on the PTR and literally sat in that little test game for just so long, and then afterwards sat back and crunched numbers, and because I was just so excited for him to come out because we had no other supports, wanted to know if it was viable. played in with a bit of healing and found it mediocre, and then went, oh, let's just check out the damage build for kicks, and realized against the Arthur's bot, I was basically killing him within a second, and went, wow, this is a bit crazy. Yeah. And then I started to look at that first tier talent and work out what the value of all those talent choices are. And at the time, the heal was double what the damage was, and the mana, as you said, some players may have mana issues, but otherwise, if you're not, the most important time for you to have that mana is in a big team fight. So if you're then finding yourself in a lane or something, constantly clashing, and you're slowly draining mana, then yes, I know you have to spend that mana to deal with it, but your teammates should then ideally not be draining your mana, and so you wouldn't be using the mana in the first place. But yeah, if you look at the value of the heal based, like against the damage, the heal is still more gain than
it's very hard
damage.
To pass up Transcendence. I agree on that.
Yep.
I just like to see a bit more versatility, and these buffs from Blizzard are a good start.
Yeah, I agree. Direction. Delphi, you're saying you're a main support yourself. Is Kharazim one of your flavors, and are you likely in the future to go more DPS Azim?
I don't think I would ever go the DPS Azim, but if I'm going to play like a damagey support, I would usually pick Thurunda or Tassadar if I can. But so I think Transcendence, like, it really shines in laning when you're double laning, because you just punch and clear the wave, and your ally gets, you're fine from any poke you take.
Yeah.
The scaling changes may change that. I'll have to test.
Yeah.
But I feel you can normally get around the mana management too bad by not spamming too much, or just having your team try not to drain you too much, sort of like playing Morales, I guess.
Yeah.
And the damage dealing, I don't know. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough to overrule that extra heal, because it allows you to duel most people in the game reasonably well. It allows you to keep your partner up in lane really well, and even in fights, even if your heal is on cooldown and you're on low health, you can just sit in the back line and punch whatever minion is nearby and hopefully get a last minute get a last minute heal. So I think Transcendence is just too good. I think if you were gonna make Insight viable, you would make it so the mana return not is increased but goes to allies, not just you.
Agreed.
That is a good idea.
Looking at it, so it's. I guess you look at Kharazim, right? He's a healer, right? You're taking from support, you're taking from heals. There's not this much variance on that component. Do you think it would maybe they need to change direction that his level 1 talent goes on in Kharazim? Maybe all his attacks should heal, but there's an additional thing it does. Like maybe you take Insight, it's a little bit of a heal, a little bit of mana. You take Iron Fist, it's a little heal, a little bit of a damage buff. Take the third one, and instead of just double healing, because we'll just take that again, maybe it's healing and something else. I don't know, whatever.
Heals 2 allies for the small amount.
Be clever like that. It's a bigger heal, or it's a 2 ally heal, or it never heals your allies and only heals yourself.
Yeah, they need to maybe nerf Transcendence slightly to make these other talents viable, but nerfing Transcendence isn't good for Kharazim.
Yeah. Maybe they need to play with it. Maybe it's more of a play thing.
You could say like the entire pick your trait at level 1 was an experiment, and they could ultimately say Transcendence is too good, the experiment is over, he gets a trait, give him Transcendence or something like it as a trait, and then give him a new line of 1. This is something I've considered, was the experiment of pick your trait successful? And currently Transcendence I think it still trumps too much to say otherwise. So maybe an option they consider.
He's still a support. You got that mindset. You go into a game. There are DPS Kharazims out there that are going to the games to kill everyone, but 9 times out of 10, you're going into it to keep your team alive.
And even the DPSs pick Transcendence because 1v1 duel potential, very strong.
Yeah, that's it. It's still even picked in that regard.
What I wanted to see from day one in that talent tier, though, is that, I like that you could pick between damage, healing, and, mana. But I always wanted to see, rather than that being your pathway. Instead, you would just heal by default, like you said. But by picking those talent, it would like build up charges, kind of like Gathering Power or whatever, and then you could use it as an instant either heal or damage nuke or gift mana to an ally.
Yeah.
That
like an
would
activated
fit so perfectly
passive.
in the tier. Because that way, if you're getting quick match queued and suddenly your only support is Karazim and you're versing Uther, and your Karazim goes, "Hi, sorry guys, I play damage," and suddenly you just lose all your complete healing. Whereas he could still pick his damage talents, but you would still have by default him being a healer, and then he could gift mana or go down the damage path if you want. Yeah, so yeah.
Not too easy. All right, and I think that is we won't go on any further because, like I said, there's lots of talent changes, guys. Check him out. Just check him out. I'm just saying, do I have the link? No, I didn't save the link. Check out disconcur.com tomorrow morning, and I'll have all the important links to all the patch notes and everything that's been talked about on the show tonight sitting there waiting for you guys to check them out. And just very quickly before we end the show, 2 event reminders from other things happening. 4th of December, next month, is the start of the APL's 10-week event. That's the sign-up for their, I guess you could say, like, similar to a solo queue. It's a solo queue 10-week sign-up event. You get the... I don't think that's basically it. It's a pug system over 10 weeks, but each game is potentially different. You're not on a set team. You play with different people, random people, and at the end of 10 weeks, they sort of individually look at everyone's win records. It's very much a captain system, if you've heard of that before. Check out more details. It is for solo sign-up. So I'll throw link in the chat. That's 4th of December. Check it out. There are some restrictions to that event before you go in just randomly sign up, so go have a look at that first. And also for those teams who truly want to find out who is the strongest in ANZ, there's the Kings of ANZ tournament happening 12th of December, and sign-ups are available now. I'll drop that link in the chat as well. Plus, again, it'll be on disconcur.com. And in the post for this episode, check it out, 12th of December, Kings of ANZ. That's the round-robin tournament that basically is going to prove who is the true champion for the ANZ region. Can you win 4 or 5 games in a day? Maybe. But can you win most of the games as you come up against every team in the competition? Sorry. I've been sick the past few days. I'm still quite not recovered yet. But check that out. It's all in the comments, descriptions, Twitch chat, blah, 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 blah. And that is it. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching Heroes Untapped episode 17. I've been Disconcur. Thanks very much for coming to check us out. And Blue Aura, I'd love for you to give a little shout out and tell everyone where they can get in contact with you if they'd like to crunch some numbers for Heroes of the Storm.
You can contact me anytime for number crunching. I love theory crafting, but I've been streaming again on Twitch now, so you can just find me at Bluecasts at Twitch, and still working on a couple of videos. But if people are interested in these kind of number crunchy value videos that I kind of ramble on about whilst we're going through this, then message me and I'll get on it, because there's some really interesting little things you can find through the numbers. For example, the Sylvanas build that was default go-to before Venom and what's the Blood for Blood were nerfed. There was a build with Sylvanas that was, I think, did 33% extra damage at all stages of the game, and no one ever used it, so I was kind of surprised about that. And after doing a bit of number crunching, you can find that there's alternative ways to play heroes or different strategies, or there's value to Nidus as opposed to taking more, or so
that's crazy talk.
Ew.
So feel free, message me on Battle.net, Blue Aura 6147. Find me on Twitch. Most days I think I'll be streaming now and have a schedule.
Not too easy. And Delfeir, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight as well. Hopefully everything goes good for Team Deathmatch and you find that 5th member or your 5th member returns. If anyone's keen to get in contact with you, and maybe talk about scrimming in the future when your team is up and running, where can people get in contact with Delfeir from Team Deathmatch?
Well, I'm pretty active on the ANZ forums, the regional forums on the main Blizzard forums, so you can hit me up there. Battle tag is Delfeir1429. Hit me up whenever. I'm always free for games or chats or whatever.
No worries. So sounds like Skype's just starting to die for you, good sir. Unfortunately, made it to the end of the show. Good. Well. It held out. Had some technical difficulties, and we had managed to get to the end of the show. And Ascended Gaming's own hwhisky, thank you very much for coming onto the show tonight. It's was very excited to have you on. I love where the Ascended Gaming guys are going. As I think you guys are a really good up and coming team. But where can people get in contact with you? They'd love to know more about yourself and Ascended Gaming.
Oh, thanks, Disco. We really appreciate it, and I mean that from everybody at Ascended Gaming. We love any support we can get. Anybody who likes to get in contact with me, I've recently began my own social media on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/AG-hwhisky. That's AGHWHISKY. If you'd like to hit me up on Battle.net, it's hwhisky #1543. Still giving out Cho'galls if anybody's after that, and I'm always keen just to chat and play a few games, I'm quite active on Battle.net. So, yeah, hit me up. Keen to make some new friends, and, yeah, I appreciate any likes I can get on Facebook.
All right. Too easy. And that is it, guys. Like I said, that is the end of episode 17. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. It's been wonderful having you guys. Play safe, be cool, don't be toxic, because no one likes it. And that's it. Thanks very much. Keep safe, and see you all in the Nexus.